Hi friends, we have made it. We are finishing December Daily 2019 and we are finishing with a bang. If you couldn't tell by everything I had on my desk. If you don't subscribe to, I feel like I've said this 100 times, if you don't subscribe to Product Play, and you really should, because it's a great service. And I knew the second Allie shared this lesson. Sorry, I thought I had tape. I don't have my tape yet. I knew the second Allie shared this lesson where she did that star wreath that I was going to save it for day 25. And I decided that in November and day 25 is here. So I have a lot going on. I wrote a letter to my final story. My final letter is a letter to my husband because it just seemed to fit that he has stuck with me this whole year, and especially this last month when school and everything else is wrapping up. So it just made sense that my final letter was to him. And my last two letters were not very long, and we are right back to writing essays for my journaling. But I feel like I feel like it was the perfect way to wrap this album up was with a letter to him. So I have a bit of cardstock that I cut down to 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, because if you saw my day 24 video, I ended that day on a page protector. And so my journaling is sized to cover that page protector. And I actually saw my friend Susan do this cool thing. I talk about Susan all the time. Her name's Little Things Big Days. Susan's wonderful. She's a great memory keeper and a great human, and you should be following her. She's amazing. But she did this thing where she had a photo over the page protector, and then she tucked things into the pocket. And so for the story I'm telling of Christmas is through a lens of morning, afternoon, and evening. And I took a bunch of photos on Christmas Day, but I picked 3 pictures. So I'll show you the 3 pictures I picked. There's just stuff everywhere. I gotta get it together. All right. So here is a picture of me at home right by our Christmas tree after we opened presents. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start sticking stuff down as we talk. And what I did was I went in Silhouette Studio and I picked a scripty font. I don't remember what font it was, but I just picked I'm probably putting way too much glue on this. I can tell already. I picked a scripty font and I just typed out the words morning, afternoon, evening. Really simple, because I wanted to use these 3 big photos to tell the story of the day. And it is I don't know if it's 1 story or 3 stories. My journaling is 1 letter, but I talked about the 3 parts of our day. So I chose to use the 3 photos. And I feel like on Christmas Day, if there was ever a day where you could use multiple photos, like I need license to use multiple photos. I've used a million photos every single day. But if there was a day that you could use multiple photos, Christmas would be that day. So Joshua and I opened presents at home, and then we decided to go spend the evening at my sister's so we could hang out with Noah and with my parents. And we realized that we didn't have anything for dinner. So we went to try to go to a supermarket to get some stuff to cook for dinner. And then the supermarket was closed. So we had to walk all the way to another market. And as we were walking to the market, Josh was like, do you want to go get brunch? And I was just like, yes, brunch is always a good idea. So we stopped. This is what living with us is like. We were literally walking to the supermarket and got distracted by the idea of brunch and stopped and got brunch on Christmas Day. And then made it to the supermarket to get the stuff for dinner. And then my evening photo is just a photo of the chaos at my sister's house. Everyone right now is like setting up one of Noah. Well, in that picture, everyone was setting up one of Noah's toys. My dad was putting on his glasses. My mom is like squinting to read something. My husband and my brother-in-law Brian are talking about one of Noah's toys, and my sister's all the way in the background building something for this child. He is the most blessed child in the history of children. He's just, I don't know, we poured so much love on him. It was his first Christmas, so how could you not? Okay, so what I did was I just stuck down my morning, afternoon, and evening, and it just worked out. The morning fit perfectly on the bottom, afternoon in the top, in the middle, and then evening on the top. So it looks like I did that on purpose and not like that was just the easiest space to put the photos. And then I'm going to make an accordion, and these photos are printed. I knew I had enough. These photos are printed 5 by 7. I didn't want to do a full page flipped out, so I thought 5 by 7 was a fun This happens all the time. What is wrong? Okay, good. I got it off this time. I was like, I've had so many meltdowns these last few days with things sticking to where they shouldn't be sticking. And I thought it was going to happen again. And I was literally about to cry because I don't want to have to cut glitter paper again. My silhouette and I are on much better terms than we normally are. But I still don't want to have to cut glitter paper all over again. So I'm making my accordion the same way I make all my flip outs, which is using a 2-inch wide piece of cardstock. And then I score it at 1 inch, and I always cut it a little bit shorter than what I'm actually making the accordion out of. I just think that's I don't like using washi. A lot of people use washi tape, so whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat. I just prefer to do it this way because I don't like the washi hanging out. And then this way you don't have to, like, I feel like you would have to make sure the washi matches, and it's just a bunch of other stuff that I don't want to have to deal with. Okay, so morning, afternoon, evening, perfect. And then on the front of this, I'm going to make sorry, I was trying to make sure I had this right. So the front of this, I'm going to make a star wreath. And my face isn't like dead center in the middle of the wreath, but I don't think that bothers me so much. So I just have a little bit of acetate. And this is a scrap piece of acetate, so it's not the best size for what I need it to be. But I didn't want to have to cut into a whole 12 by 12 sheet to just get a piece big enough to cover this circle. So it's a little bit shy of what it should be, but it just, again, I didn't want to have to cut a whole sheet. And then this last bit that I'm using to attach it, I cut it a little bit narrower, so it's not the full inch because I don't have a full inch on either side of this. So I'm gonna fold this and figure out which way it needs to fold. So this has to go here, which means this other one has to go this way. Okay, so I'm just folding my accordion and making sure that the seams meet. Oh, shucks, there's tape on that. I'm gonna have to put like the powder tool on that to get the tape from when I drop the adhesive. There's a little bit of tape on that, but you see, that's the way it's gonna open. And this will go right here with my number. And this is gonna go on the back of it so you don't see that yellow. I just like this dot pattern paper. It's the same pattern paper that I put under my journaling, so I thought it'd be fun to repeat it. And then again, this is gonna go underneath it so you don't see that yellow. So the seam, the reason I was trying to assemble it was to make sure that when it's time to put it together, my seam is on the right side. That's the only reason I was doing all of that double checking. I don't want to have to put this together and then realize that my seam's on the wrong side and things do not line up the way they're supposed to. So this will go here, just like that. And then it's going to stay closed in the book. So I don't care that the back side of this is open because it's going to stay closed in the book. And then what I'm going to do is use a bit of acetate to attach it to the album. And then I have this piece of paper. This is a 6x8 paper that I cut down to 5x7. And this is going to be the last page of my book. And I'm just going to put a sentiment or something here when I'm done and I've decided how I want to wrap up my 2019 December daily. So there we go. That works perfectly. And then I'm just gonna put this white paper to cover the this yellow and also to kind of seal the acetate in place. And then we're going to make our star wreath. So if you subscribe to, I've checked this. I know this is the right, okay. I know this is the way, like I know this is the right, I didn't put this on straight at all. I know this is the right size because I cut it with my machine. I didn't hand cut this to make sure that it would work. And I'm still not, it's still not perfect. Okay. Good. Close enough. Pretty close to perfect. You can still see a tiny bit of that yellow, but close enough to perfect. Okay, so then that is going to go like this. And if you've seen, if you're subscribed to Allie's Products Play class, then you've seen her do this, where she literally just took a bunch of stars and created a star wreath. So what I did in advance was I went through my embellishment stash and I punched out a bunch of chipboard stars and I got some wood stars and some of these foam stars and tried to get a bunch of stars at different textures. Just so they're not all one texture. And then I'm just going to, this Christmas Day one has to go kind of front and center right here because it is a Christmas Day story. And then I'm just going to go around and layer these stars. So these Some of these are from Feed Your Craft, like the red and the blue and the green. The red and the blue and the green kind of vellum textured stars are from Feed Your Craft. And then some of them, like I said, are just chipboard from Allie. And then these wood stars I've just had in my stash for like ever. I don't know where, I can't honestly tell you where a lot of this stuff came from. Because some of it I've just had for a very long time. I like stars are one of my favorite shape to play with. So I tend to just always have stars in my stash, and I'm just trying to mix up the texture so it's not all chipboard and what have you. I have a few of these acrylic stars. These are from my friend Jessica's shop, Color Cast Designs. So I have a few acrylic stars that I'm going to mix in here and there. And I'm just going to, is that a star or is that the backing? I think that's the backing. This is the actual star. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going and mix in the stars. So again, I'm just layering this to create the wreath like Allie did. A few of my friends have already done this. My friend Jessica did this also. Hers was really, really pretty, which is what made me decide to like actually give this a go. Ashley did it. She's on Instagram also. So a few people have already, you know, done this, and it's so much fun to just like stash bust. So if there's a particular shape that you find you have a lot of in your stash, then this is just a really easy project to use up some of those shapes. I also have these stars from Studio Calico. These are just another wood star, but it's more of an open shape. And then I think what I'm going to do when I'm done scattering these stars everywhere is I want to put another wood one somewhere. So after I finish setting this up, I'm going to stick it down, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some gold star brads at the last step just to add some sparkle and shine. So this is pretty much what my wreath is going to look like. I'm going to go off camera and attach it because it's going to take me a few minutes to do this, and I will be right back. Okay, you guys, so I am back, and this looks a little different than it did before I disappeared. What I did do was I took a picture of it with my phone, and I had the picture out while I was reassembling it, so a lot of it looks the same. And then I went back and I watched Allie's lesson for this particular page just to see, you know, where her heart was and what... That did not stick. Sorry. That's supposed to go right here. Just to see where her heart was and what her intentions were. And she said this thing, I think she said sometimes more is more. And first of all, you guys don't need to tell me more is more, because if unless you're new here, then you don't know what my style is like. But if you've been here before, then you know that with me, more is always more. But she said, she's like, give yourself like space and room to play and just go for it. And so I decided to go and like stack things. And if you can see looking top down, like everything is not on the same layer. I went and I added another one of these wood stars, one of these gold mirrored stars, this cork star. And now I have this really fun wreath. And I have to figure out how to get my 25 in here, because I want to use this these transparent numbers. But I think the easiest way to get it in is just going to be to staple it on. So, of course, why aren't you stapling? So I'm trying to use my tiny attacher to staple these numbers on. And it's not cooperating. So I'm going to give it one more try. And then I got to come up with a plan B if this doesn't work. So let's see. Let's cross our fingers, you guys. So I really just want to staple this on right here. Ah, there it goes. Because it's never failed me before. I'm not sure what... was I gotta figure out how to get it on the 5. Ah, there it goes. Perfect. Oh, I figured out. I know what it is. There's too many chunky bits, and it just doesn't want to. Yeah, it's not gonna staple with that much dimension. Okay, hopefully that one staple over the 2 is enough to keep this in place, because I'm not gonna be able to get to the 5 to staple it down. But that's my wreath. I think it came out really good. Like, I'm really happy with it. It is very much me in a on a page. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick this down here, and then we're going to keep working on the rest of the page. And I'm being very like tender with it right now because I don't know if all the glue is dried. I use a mix of wet adhesives and tape runner. Because when I was putting things over the glitter, I think the wet adhesives just behave better over glitter. Wait, I gotta make sure I get this down so I leave myself enough space to flip it open. So since I use a mixture of, like I use the Tombow glue I always use. This one, the Aqua Mono Liquid Glue, is the best glue I found for sticking things to glitter paper. Did I do the same thing again? Just close. There we go. All right. So here is my Christmas flip out. Perfect. And then, oh, it doesn't flip the right way. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Okay, now I gotta reevaluate because it's supposed to pull out. Oh, did I just put all my photos on the wrong side? It looks like I put all my photos on the wrong side. Also, I need it to flip this way. So I gotta, all right, I'm going to have to pause and reevaluate because I need it to pull out this way. And it doesn't really. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute and think about this, and I'll be right back when I come up with a solution. Okay, friends, so I am back, and I am almost ashamed to admit how many meltdowns I had in the last half hour trying to get, oh Lord, there's just tape everywhere, trying to get this page together the way I envisioned it. Which just goes to show you that we don't always have it all together, and sometimes there are hiccups and sometimes there are real tears. Like I was literally crying about to throw this in the garbage. That's how frustrated I was. I made a few simple mistakes. The first thing is, if I wanted a right-sided pullout, I needed an odd number of pages. And I should have known that because I've made accordions like this a million times, and I should have remembered that I needed an odd number of pages. So that was the first mistake, is I was trying to do it with an even number of pages. The other mistake was, if I want this to close and this is transparent, then something needs to be back here. And that's what was throwing me off. I kept forgetting that something needed to be back here. So all I did was take some pattern paper with some stars, put it on the back of my photo, and now it works. That's it. That's all it was. It was easy fixes. It was adding another piece of paper and adding something to the back side of my morning photo. And then because it sits closed in the book, it doesn't matter that the back side of this is empty because it's going to sit closed like this. This is how it is until it's time to pull it out. So all I have to do is put some sort of embellishment here. And I think I might just put a giant star. And oh, I'm almost out of gold glitter stars. What am I going to do? I might just put a giant star and put one of these wood sentiments. Mary? This Mary one works perfect. I actually still have these that I use on my day 11. If there's one that says Christmas. Right, oh, Merry December. I like that. So I'm going to just put Merry December. And what I'm going to do before is I'm going to staple this. I'm going to staple this one to the star, and then I'm going to glue the Merry. I'm going to glue the Merry to the star, but I think what would be easier is just putting a staple right through this. So I'm going to kind of center it. I think that M is right where the middle of it is. I'm just going to throw a staple through it. Great. Throw a staple through it, put it down. So it's kind of centered. And again, it's going to hang off a little bit. That doesn't bother me. And then I'm just going to put a tiny bit of, on the wrong side. I was literally about to put glue on the wrong side. That is how flustered I am after failing on that page. Okay, good. And this is just going to say Merry. Just trying to fix the spacing on this so it sits the way it's supposed to. Merry December. I don't like that. All right, I think I'm going to just take this rubber piece off. Try to get it off in a way that doesn't ruin it so I can use it on a future project. And I think I'm just going to go with the Merry. Okay, good. Staples out. I have not ruined that December. I think I'm just going to go with the Merry and call it and leave it simple because there's wood in my wreath and there's stars everywhere else. Okay, that's so much better. Wow. I think I was doing too much for a second, you guys. Sometimes that happens. I was just doing a bit too much. Gonna file that away. Okay. So again, here's how it pulls out. I'm gonna have to put some sort of a pull tab but it pulls out like that. I have my morning, afternoon, evening, and then just my star that says Merry. And now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if that is on straight, so I'm just gonna double check that that's on straight, and then that is pretty much it for this layout. It took us some time to get here, but honestly it's the last day, so I don't mind that so much. But this was definitely an adventure. When I was planning this page out, I was like, this is gonna be the easiest page of the month because I'm not doing anything crazy. It's like pretty much pre-made for me. I just have to assemble it, and then it was an adventure and a half. All right, so that's how that looks. I also already added my acetate to put it in the book. And then I just put this paper from Feed Your Craft on the back to close the album out. I'm not embellishing it, I'm just leaving it. It's just so the back side of the page is not naked. The other thing I did was I pulled out the back side of day 24, which you have already seen. And like I said, my friend Susan did, she adhered something to the front of the page protector, which I'm gonna go ahead and do. And then she put things in the pockets. Are we for real right now? Ugh, I can't win today. On the bright side, I have like I feel like Mary Poppins. I have like a never-ending supply of tape. One of my friends suggested I put my tape on auto order from Amazon, and I went ahead and did that. So I just got 5 new packs. So that should tide me over for a little bit with the way I go through tape. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'm going to attach this to the back side of the page protector, which you can now see on this side, but the other spread had yellow in it, so I don't know if that's terrible. I will have to put it back in the album and see. Never mind, that's horrible. I hate it. Okay, so before I put it in the album, I'm going to cover this with white and then put it in the album. So I'm gonna go get some white cardstock or just white copy paper, and cover this and then put it in the album, and I'll be back. Wow, today we are struggling. It's the last layout. It's supposed to be like the easiest one, and we are struggling today. I'm gonna put some white copy paper on this, and then, I mean, I like the idea. I just don't know if it's gonna work for me. Yeah, I think the white copy paper might make it a little bit more palatable, because I have white copy paper on the back side of the other side. So I'm going to put some white paper on it and be right back. Okay, you guys, so I have fixed this. I put the copy paper, and then I attached it to the page protector so that now it's white on the back side and not that weird yellow. And then what I did was I took some 3x4 photos and I printed them. I printed 4 3x4 photos, put them back to back, and it's just Joshua and I and our favorite guy. It was Noah's first Christmas, so I wanted to make sure that I got some pictures of him in the album. So there's him in his little Santa suit because he's just the cutest thing ever. And then there's a picture of Joshua and I with him, and then just I took this selfie with him on my lap, and I took this of Joshua while Noah was opening one of his presents. He is learning how to open presents, so he knows how to take the tissue paper out the bag, but then he didn't know what to do after that. So I just snapped those photos, and then they're just gonna go in the pocket right here, and then I put some trim on top. So I remember that there's something back here to pull out, and then now day 25 is complete. So I have my trim with my photos, I have my stars, I have my fun pull out, I use the same paper, and then I have my pull out with the morning, afternoon, and evening of Christmas Day. And the only thing left to do is put it in the album and read you my journaling. So I'm going to read you my journaling first. It is fairly long, so I will not be heartbroken if you skip out on me right now. But it's a letter to my husband, and it says, "Dear Joshua, it seems only fitting that this last letter, this final story to wrap up this month of stories, both big and small, this terminal stop in this journey of love and light and wonder and magic be about you and for you and to you. There are some days I wonder what I did to be so blessed to have you in my life, to have you as my partner in this season and the seasons behind us and the seasons ahead, to be so lucky to have someone who gets me, who knows me, who wants to know me, who chooses me every single day, even on the days where I would choose anything else but to wake up in this body and this life, to have you be my port when the seas are rough and dark, and the lighthouse to find my way home, to have you be my home. You, my husband, my sun and stars, my heart, you helped me find the light when it was far away. And you took all the pictures even when you were worn out and tired. And you went to the movies and you cheered me on as I was studying for finals. And you baked the cookies and you listened to the carols and you drank the hot chocolate. And you made sure I had new pajamas on Christmas Eve because you know how much that meant to me. And you went to see the lights in the cold and you celebrated my successes. You have been and continue to be my biggest fan. And you went on all the adventures with me and you did all the things to make my season bright. And you, darling, you are a wonder in and of itself and a bigger and better gift than could ever be waiting under the tree. On the days where there was no magic to be found and the wonder of the season was gone, you reminded me that magic is what we make and that what we're building together is its own kind of magic. And whenever I needed a reminder, you were there and patient and kind and good, even when you were not so good, and ready to reinforce the lesson until I knew it like I knew the lines on the palm of your hand. You, my darling, you are the ribbon that tied this season together, connecting day to day and moment to moment until it was all awash in bright and joyous light. And on this 25th day that dawned bright and cold, you woke up early because you know that I'm a child at heart and could not resist the allure of presents. And we opened gifts by the tree, surrounded by the girls and paper and bags. And you indulged my silly habit of wearing as many of the gifts as possible, scarves and socks and earrings and t-shirts, and the list goes on and on. And you walked with me to the closed supermarket and then to the open one, and you stopped for brunch along the way because brunch is life, and you held my hand the entire time, and you helped me make dinner for our family, and we bundled it all up into an Uber and played Santa at my sister's home, and I watched you hold our nephew, and he is almost as enamored with you as I am. And we watched Home Alone 2 and opened presents again and ate our weight in Mexicorn dip. And on the way home, you held my hand in the cab. And I remember thinking that there wasn't a single thing I would change about this day. You, darling, you are my best friend. And you are a light and a source of wonder and magic that I can take with me well after December is over. And that is the greatest gift of all. Merry Christmas, my love. And so that is day 25. It is a letter to him. I've been writing about him this whole month, so I figured I might as well write a letter to him. And that is how I'm wrapping up the month. So before I go on to what's next, I have to say a warm thank you. Thank you so much for letting me into your lives this December. Thank you for spending time with me. So many of you have told me that this has become part of your routine. And every time I read those comments, you guys have no idea what those comments do to me. So thank you for letting this channel, letting this album, letting my stories bring you joy, and letting it be a part of, I'm gonna cry. Like, I don't wanna cry. Because it feels like we built something special this month and it's over, you know? And so change. On the bright side, if you only came for December Daily, then again, thank you for sticking around with me, and I will see you next year because of course I will be back. But if you want to stick around and see what I'm up to next year, I already have memory keeping plans and I will be back really soon to share those with you. So if you want to hang around and subscribe and keep subscribing, I will be back really, really soon to tell you what I'll be up to for 2020. And you guys, I literally cannot fit a single thing in this album anymore. Okay, I know I punched the holes. The hole didn't punch all the way through, and that is why it is struggling. And if I let go of this, all these pages are going to pop out, and it's going to be a disaster. So I'm going to close it for a minute until I can get this together. So yeah, so I'm going to be back really soon, like tomorrow soon, with an update on my 2020 memory keeping plans, so you can decide if those are some things you might be interested in and you want to hang around with me for the long run. Also, I have a fun new project in the works that I think you guys are really going to enjoy, so I'll be talking about that tomorrow when I do my chit chat update. And the last thing I have to say is when my new album comes, because if you could tell, this one is on its last legs, the cats and just general chaos. I will be doing a flip through of both albums so you can see how the pages work, because you guys have seen all the process videos, but I think it'll be fun to see how the pages turn and how the album is as a cohesive element. So for the last time in this December, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming back and spending your December with me. Thank you for letting this channel be part of your December Daily. I hope if you were making your own album, you found inspiration here. You found inspiration to tell your own stories and how to document your life. And I have loved every single moment of filming, and making, even when I was frustrated and even when I was about to cry and even when I was telling not so great stories. I have loved every single moment, and it's just been such a gift, such a gift. You guys have been such a gift spending this time with you. So before I fall apart into tears, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please come back tomorrow for my chit chat so you can see what I'll be up to. Until next time, keep it crafty, friends, and have the best day. And happy December, you guys. Happy December.